ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the program.
Good morning.
It is a good morning. We're talking about routine today.
Routine. Routine is the reward.
What is the etymology of routine?
I wanna surrender. I wanna be free. I wanna surrender.
The word etymology? I would say route, like you're going on a path, you're going on a journey.
This is our path today, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Glen podcast.
There you go. Routine. It's, if you don't know where you're going, you're bound to wander aimlessly. I think of that in the context of, that ever popular TV show Yellowstone and how they...
You still watching that show?
Well, they don't have anything coming out till 2024 now. But we've done the 1883 where they come out of Texas and they go north to Montana. And, I mean, that's that epic video game from our childhood, the Oregon...
Yeah, the Oregon Trail.
Somebody had to blaze it. Somebody had to set the route to go on. And it was still perilous. And it was crazy. Even in the show, they go over the old wagon tracks. Because there's some parts in the country where those wagon tracks are like fossils. They went through it in the mud, and it's dried up, and it's never rained since, and it's just encased in stone, the old 2-inch wide wheel tracks. But they went on the old Oregon Trail.
That's Christianity, man. That's
is.
real life Christianity. All those tracks that aren't being used.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to talk about Christianity, though.
But we do, because routine is part of that.
Oh, I suppose it can be.
And that's one of the things of where I look at routine from being a healthcare provider is for those patients of mine that don't have a good health or daily routine, they become susceptible to disease, pathology, injury, the slightest bump, the slightest destabilization of their normal routine, slipping on the ice. They don't fall, but they try to catch themselves and they strain those muscles to protect. And their muscles aren't used to being strained. Those joints aren't used to being exerted other than just their normal day in, day out activity. As soon as something more difficult hits them, their body loses. And I think there's a great parallel there with routine for those of us with Christian faith and growing that without a daily routine of strengthening our faith and strengthening our relationship with God, we become very susceptible to the ways of the world and to the devil's wiles of pulling us off the track and leaving us looking down instead of up.
So I guess there's a benefit to order.
Weird.
It's almost like when God made the world, he created order.
I got to tell you this because this plays in perfectly. I just started taking care of a veterinarian. She's awesome. But she was telling about ultrasounding my cattle, and then she was talking about ultrasounding a dog last week. And she was just flabbergasted that embryologically, so early in gestation, how much people and dogs look identical, and cows. They all look like they came from the same...
I better not mention my old girlfriends.
manufacturing.
Not true. Not true.
But it's really a great point that there's order and design, and that order and design has been here for so long, and we just now are trying to use science to rationalize what has been written in the Word for thousands of years. Why do we crave to make sense of the world around us? Why don't we just accept it? Are we that insecure? Do we feel that?
I think the reality is there's a group of persons, maybe scientists, physicists, that are trying to disprove God, and so they keep shoving it down our throats that he doesn't exist because they're trying to cover him up. I agree with you. Why can't we just enjoy the world God has created? Well, the other side doesn't want us to enjoy it for some reason. They want to kill us. And I know that sounds crazy, but I think it's true.
Well, kill us spiritually, because every time we question, how did the Israelites cross the Red Sea?
No, the Reed Sea.
Right. But see, if you don't know the interpretation, you don't know the context, you can get caught up in this dialogue and this narrative that isn't even true.
Yeah, man. In 1990, one of my good friend Glen, we were both in the Army together, and he was shaking his head about the education he got at a Catholic college, and And I said, one day we got in a conversation. I said, well, what do you mean you're frustrated? Well, they keep talking about the Reed Sea. I said, what do you mean the Reed Sea? Oh, their interpretation, there was no Red Sea event. It was the Reed Sea, right? And every year at this time, the waters come up and yada, 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 which doesn't explain a lot of things. Maybe it was just a miracle. Maybe it's just really simple. It was just a miracle. But people are trying to cover up God. They're trying to hide him from us so we can't be happy.
Right.
And you think I'm crazy. Well, the devil's in charge of that whole thing.
Well, but think about their routine. They call it scientific process. Nothing wrong with it. It helps us prove why penicillin worked and why we were able to eliminate polio from our culture and our society. Like, scientific process has a great mechanism, but so does routine for us. Routine as humans, routines as Christians, and whether you start with that as a good routine for your day, where does that start? Where does your good routine start for today?
Well, I think, first of all, let me get to that.
Okay.
But let's just establish that we are both Christians. God is the creator of the earth. If you want to call it intelligent design, well, okay. And so we're taking off of God's way of doing things, hence making things using order. So that's understanding the concept of order. Now,
Is there another way to interpret that?
I don't think so, but when you look at like practical things, let's talk about a marathon runner.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Do you think they have order in their life, or do you think they just show up for a marathon and say, "Well, we'll see if I can get 20? What is it, 26.2 or
26.2.
Yeah, let me just see if I can do it today. I haven't ran for about 4 months." Of course, it's absurd. Basketball players, football players, right? Anyone who's running track, wrestlers, you have to have order. You have to.
Stephon Curry, his routine for being an NBA basketball player, Michael Jordan, all those guys, routine, order. From the food they put in the body to the people they hang out with to what they do with their day in, day out.
Yeah, I think a really, really, really good example is Tom Brady.
Oh, that's a slippery slope to walk in here with.
Why is it slippery?
Well, he's got deflated balls, from the Super Bowl. But anyhow,
I've never liked the deflated balls. But Tom Brady, somebody met him in Washington, D.C. at some supper, and he was drinking water, and he wasn't eating all the junk food. I think he was about 41 years old, 42. And they said, well, let's go to the bar and let's get a beer. And he said, no, I'm okay. I said, what do you mean? I'm good with water. Well, then this guy was digging it. What do you mean you're good with water? Well, I've got goals. I want to play until I'm 45 years old. So I have a routine. And boy, a guy thinks about it. And, what did you eat yesterday? Right? What junk did you eat yesterday? I mean, yesterday I had a pretty good day. But
yesterday I was... So you and I both know I just coming off my hernia surgery. I'm just allowed to go back into the gym for the first time in years. And yesterday started my routine for today. Highly ketogenic, super anal about tracking my macros. Ate 256 grams of protein. I ate 30 grams of carbs, and I had about 25 grams of fat. Like, that's where my good routine starts, was with yesterday. 4 meals, and I was ready for today.
4 meals?
4 meals.
Why are you eating 4 meals?
Because in order to get that much protein throughout the day, it's morning, 6:30, 7 o'clock. It's lunch, 12:30, 1 o'clock. It's a 7 o'clock, and then there's a 9:15 protein dump before I go to bed.
So you don't do the what is it called? Not the 80-20. What's the diet where you don't eat until noon?
Oh, the intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
I had done that through when we talked about apoptosis about a year ago. Really enjoyed it, and then I got lazy. I broke the routine.
Too.
I broke the routine.
I did too.
Just like Exodus 90 coming up is going to be that great reset for getting back into a really healthy prayer life. And I'm awesome with it until about mid-June. And then we start having full days and sunshine, and I want to soak every bit of daylight and sunlight up, and I don't want to give God his time because I want my time. And then I struggle.
I get it. So, ladies and gentlemen, what's the most important thing? What's the most important thing when thinking about your day? Where does order begin?
For me, it begins the day before.
Yeah, there you go. It begins the day before. Why is that so important? Did I shake you up there?
No,
You looked at me like I was going to punch you.
no, I liked it. I
not
liked
gonna
it.
punch you.
This is a high Glen day.
Yeah, day before is the key. Tell us about that.
So this time of year, we're coming up on the winter solstice. We are at the shortest hours of daylight we're going to have for the year. This, for me, when I get up, everyone else in my house is sleeping. So if I go throw on a bunch of lights or if I start rustling around and making too much noise, I wake everybody up and then I've got a really unhappy household. So my strategy is, my routine is at night before I go to bed, all of my workout clothes, all of my protein powders, everything is set up in the kitchen or in the bathroom ready to go. My coffee maker's on automatic setup. So when my alarm goes off at 5:04 a.m., within 2 minutes I'm in the kitchen. I can have
5:04.
5:04, factor of 9. So I'm in the kitchen. I have a cup of coffee. I can do a quick social media check-in. I can check in the markets. I can do basically like a 15-minute wake up of just kind of getting with the world. And then it's back in, get my contacts in, get my exercise clothes on, and I'm out the door into the gym by 5:30. I do an hour workout. I'm back in the house. I start waking my household up. And this will be the routine going in is my kids get up and they start their homeschooling, 6:30 at the table. And then we run through a couple things. My wife gets up and I start prepping breakfast.
Hey everybody, quick commercial break. I want to invite all the men to the next men's conference this coming February 3rd, 2024 in Brookings, South Dakota. Two great speakers for the Jeff Norfolk from the Diocese of Sioux Falls and Kevin Wells. You can find more information about this conference here.
And I cook while she teaches. And 8 o'clock, 8:15, we eat. I'm out the door and headed to the office by 8:45, 8:50.
That's a pretty good routine.
And that's just the first 3 hours of my life.
Yeah.
And so the rest of the day, I can be really flexible with taking care of clients, my availability to serve them. Or today, my team has been really good about setting up and structuring meetings so that I can be really effective and efficient with my time and still maintain my routine of the things I need to get done today to support my office and support my family and support them.
Yeah, I love what you're saying. It's really true. Today starts yesterday, and my best days are when the night before I write down all the things I need to get done for tomorrow, and then I schedule everything. And there's something that's always scheduled is prayer for me. When I wake up, I'm in ministry. You're not in ministry, but we're all in ministry. But I'm in full-time ministry, and
You probably have a lot of people to pray for
well.
or prayer requests.
And just that too. A lot of people to pray for, but Lord, am I doing what you want me to do? I mean, that's always my prayer. Am I supposed to be doing something else? So, prayer, workout, and then I also do breakfast almost every morning for the kids, clean up while my wife begins homeschooling.
What kind of breakfast do you guys do for kind of getting that day started? Again, routine. Speaking of routine, what do you guys like to do?
5 years ago, I used to have big breakfasts for the kids.
Okay.
But now we do tea, and it's a much lighter breakfast. We try to stay away from bread, but if I do, it's usually scrambled eggs or egg on toast or egg next to toast, right?
Good.
Some fruit. I like to make smoothies, and then you can hide, vitamin C and different things in smoothies.
All the good stuff.
Yeah.
Spinach.
Yeah. Sometimes I do spinach.
Dad, why is it green? Don't worry about it. Just drink
Green's
it.
gold, man. Green's gold, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, but I think order is just the key. I mean, think about this. If I woke up this morning and I had no plan today, and I turned on my iPad and started watching something inappropriate, how do you think, if you were to forecast my day, how would it go? I'd be mad at myself, and then I'd take it out on somebody else, and I get to the computer, and pretty soon I'm looking at stuff I shouldn't be looking at. And I'm not talking about, like, immoral stuff. I'm talking about Amazon or eBay or whatever,
Just being entertained.
or just
period.
watching shorts again and again and again. Boy, you could do that for hours.
Oh,
I've done it a couple times for over an hour. It's like, ugh. I did it. So one night my arm was hurting because, I couldn't sleep. So should have been doing something else. But this is where order comes in. You have a real plan. And so where does spontaneity come from? Spontaneity comes from order. Some people think spontaneity comes from chaos, that you don't organize your life and I'm just spontaneous. No, that's called chaos. Spontaneity is when you have a plan, and inside of that plan, at least this is how I look at it. You can push back, but inside that plan, you go off course for a second and go this way. And sometimes you have to.
when you got kids, you have to be.
Well, yeah. You get a call that someone's dying. And you're like, well, I got to go. Man.
A kid falls off a bike.
Yeah.
Somebody needs a Band-Aid.
But everything's about order. And that's why, for me, as a Roman Catholic, the first thing I do is pray the rosary when I wake up. Now, the first thing I should do, there are days, ladies and gentlemen, where I just don't pray. It's embarrassing to say, but it's just true. So I like to pray the rosary. And then you open your Bibles. Protestants are really, really good at opening your Bibles. Catholics are catching on slowly, but you open your Bible, you chew on the Word of God, you see what He has to say to you, because that could change your day. It could change your plan from the night before.
But you're speaking in a really great thing. 2 points. One, in the scientific world, order has never come from chaos. You drop a glass, like your water glass there, onto the floor and it shatters. There's no amount of redropping those pieces that makes it reconfigure back into its original glass container. Scientific fact, scientific principle.
Like that.
So chaos never creates order. Is there order in chaos? Sure. We can find and we can connect dots to make this make sense, but it never goes back to the original. Now, for us Protestants and for the Catholics, I know too, there are tools to help you develop that routine. If you wake up and you have been lacking a routine for your morning Christian time, your Christian exercise.
Your personal prayer time.
Yeah, your personal prayer time, getting in there and exercising with the Bible. Great apps like Bible in the Year. There's a Catholic version, there's a Protestant version because it's catching on. And they literally give you a reading and something to watch and to engage with to get through the Bible in a year. And if you've never really picked up the Bible, or if it seems overwhelming or daunting for you to get through because it's a lot, this is a great place to start. And then you set that routine of when do you want to go through it? When do you want to start that Bible? And I agree with you. I think it should be one of the very first things in the morning to get your head and heart right. And again, I think that's a really great point to just pray of God, is this what your life have for me? Is this your plan for me today?
Yeah. Another good app is called Pray As You Go. It's, again, it doesn't matter. I don't even know who made this app, Protestant, Catholic, it doesn't matter. You hit daily prayer, and then you get a song, and you just start meditating. Put your headphones on or close your eyes, and it plays a song here. Like today, what do we got? Some church bells going on. And then there'll be a song that they sing. Here, let me speed it up.
To a long reading about the birth of John the Baptist. Notice God's providence at work. Providence.
Here's the song. This might be anyway, and then put your headphones on. It only takes how long? 12 minutes.
But what a great way to start the day.
Yeah, you can meditate on God's word, and then when of course when it finishes, you just keep
I know some people who spend that much time in the bathroom in the morning.
12 minutes?
Yeah.
What are they doing for 12 minutes?
I think they're just waiting for things to happen.
Well, this is the good thing about being bald is that I don't need 12 minutes. I'm like 2-minute showers, man. That's what I tell my boys. Military showers, 2 minutes in and out. But keep going. This is good stuff.
So yeah, so even taking an app like that, and while you brush your teeth, or while you're getting dressed, or women, if you're getting your makeup on for the morning, or doing your hair for the morning, take those minutes and get it in. Exercise. I don't care if you exercise in the morning, if you exercise at night.
There's no advantages either way.
Oh, there's always advantages, but
I mean, what's better? You're a chiropractor, so you're not in sports medicine, but you dabble in it, certainly.
Absolutely. It depends what your events and activity and lifestyle are. I feel that for our clients and for people, within the first hour of waking, going and getting their engine revving sets their metabolism set point, sets their energy set point, sets the mental clarity and focus, because you go and you just get a good sweat on for 25 to 45 minutes and you can get that icky stuff out of your body from yesterday when you cheated and you had a little bar here or you had a little soda there. Okay, you reset that metabolism set point as well. But I'm right next to the hospital, and I can't tell you how many nurses that I see go walk around the blocks of the hospital in that area when they've got a little break. How many healthcare workers that work at the nursing home or the assisted living there that get out of the facility, go outside, get some fresh air, get some sunshine. And it's not a rigorous workout. It's just putting on some miles and getting your heart pumping. It doesn't take much. It all comes down to what your goals are.
Yeah, another thing to think about, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, really, if you want to change your life, routine is a great way to start, isn't it?
It's at the foundation.
Yeah, from the medical side or biological side of things, your diet is so important. I know you know that. I'm not an expert in this area, but one of my friends, it wasn't you, a different chiropractor, 10 years ago, I went through a class, and he said, cut sugar and flour out for 30 days and just see how you feel. And I'm thinking, I can't do it for one. He said, you will end up being or feeling happier for sure by day 7. And so I did that. I cut all sugar and flour out of my diet. And I was coming home. It was like day 5. Coming home. And I'm thinking, I am so happy. Why am I so happy? And it wasn't like a giddy thing. I just felt so good. And I remember telling my wife, I feel so good. And she says, well, yeah. I mean, it's because your diet's been terrible.
But your food, when we're talking from a biological sense, the biological food we feed ourselves. You talk about from the spiritual food we're feeding ourselves.
Yeah.
We get in and we watch a reel, we get in and we watch a short that doesn't feed us. That's just as heavy and toxic to our brain and our spirit and our battle that we have against the devil every day as us eating junk food and sugar and loading up with all this garbage and then expect our body to perform the way God asks us to make it perform.
But by the way, this is nothing we should talk about. What's your junk food to go? I mean, if you're going to have junk food, what do you go for?
I am a huge sucker for Scotcheroos.
Oh, my gosh. It's cocaine for me. Oh, Scotcheroos.
Oh, yeah.
It changes my whole life.
Mm-hmm.
In the best way when I'm eating it, and then all of a sudden I have a come apart. It's just so bad for you.
Mm-hmm. Well, the whole Rice Krispie is held together with high fructose corn syrup.
It's so dang good. So anyway,
and peanut butter.
I don't make them for that reason. I can't stop eating them.
Yep.
I worked at D camps. I worked D camps, discipleship camps at Broomtree this summer, and I made Scotcheroos. Always the first day, and everyone went crazy for the Scotcheroos. And I'm pretty good at making them because that's my go-to as well. But I don't make them for that reason because I just can't stop eating them.
Yep.
Yeah, sugar is a big problem for me. So look at your routine. Just take 10 minutes and think about, what do I do every day? And don't kick the crap out of yourself either, because lots of people do that, right? That's just pride. And then make just a few changes. And, 2024 New Year's resolutions, and we're coming up to that. Everyone's going to make these resolutions, and nobody's going to do it but, the hardcore 1%. Right?
Well, there's a really profound fact in that 65% of people at the end of January still do a New Year's resolution.
What percent?
65 have quit. 62 to 65%
That's high.
have quit doing their New Year's resolution.
I thought it'd be higher than that.
By July, almost 80-85% are just not even doing that. So for my team, my family, my wife, me, we read a book called The One Word Book.
The One Word Book.
The One Word Book. And it's actually based off of a Christian author that encourages you to take time. And this is a wonderful time of the year when you've got some quiet time or you need a break from family or you just need to step away because it's getting just too heavy being around everybody. This book is a 30-minute read at most. But what it is a meditative process of, hey, Lord, speak to me. Speak to me about what my next 12 months will look like. And so this year, my word has been peace. I picked the word peace last January. I was a little late to the party because I couldn't decide. I had about 6 words felt like I was being called to, and it took a mentor of mine kind of slapping me upside the head and go, what do you really want? What do you really need? What is God calling for you in your life? I'm like, peace. I just want peace. Well, you know what, folks? You know what you need in order to have peace?
Alcohol.
No, you got to have chaos.
Oh, chaos.
You have to have chaos in order to have peace. So that was a very valuable lesson because my dad was diagnosed with cancer this year.
Yeah.
We've been going through a lot of challenges with the family, not our best personalities coming out in a time of grieving and a time of struggle. And it really speaks to where all of our hearts are at and what we speak. And so peace every day has been my go-to morning routine. And I have a little word visual art that I use. And the most peaceful thing to me is a sunrise. So the word art is a sunrise and the rays coming out of it. And each point of the ray represents a very specific goal or target or something I'm trying to accomplish for 2023. And I'm going to roll into this process coming into this holiday weekend of I'm going to read this book and I'm going to start meditating on my word for 2024. And then you know how else I keep it present every day? Is I use it as my password. I use it as part of my password into my
That's a good
banking
idea.
and into my email. So I
You
just
should be telling us that that's your password for your banking.
well, it's part of it. It's not all of it.
He's stepping back.
That's right. So
My password on the phone is...
but this is where really, if you want to set routine to have its greatest impact, why as Christians would we start prayer? Because our end goal is we want to get to heaven. Well, that might be 40, 50 years off for you and I. Well, why would we start praying now? Well, because there's a lot of shedding and a lot of layers to peel back to get to that goal. Why do we set a routine for our health? Because we aren't exercising for tomorrow. We're exercising for how we're going to be when we retire from our day-to-day life and we have grandchildren to play with. And what kind of physical shape are we going to be in to do that? We don't set routines of saving money or setting aside around where we want to be financially. It's around for where we want to be for tithing and giving and sharing and making the world better that we're around. All of these ties back to goals. All of it ties back to goals. And you want to get to a goal, you have to set a routine. And getting to heaven's a pretty damn good goal.
Do you remember? I'm reminded of C.S. Lewis talking about the ships.
2 ships passing in the
I
night.
think it was 3 ships.
Okay. The
I'm-
Nina, the Pinta, and
you
the
know
Santa
what?
Maria.
I'm gonna butcher this, but it's still worth it. You can look into. I think it's in Mere Christianity, but he's talking about morality. You have these ships in a line, and he said the number one thing is you don't want to hit these ships in a fleet, right? You want to make sure that you don't hit one another. That's the number one thing. Number 2 is you got to make sure your own ship is behaving. So the motor must be running.
Keeping up.
Can't have any leaks. But none of this matters if you don't have the right coordinates for the destination. All the ships need to be going to the same place. And that's what you're talking about, really. Your goals. Our goal is heaven. How do you get there, right?
How do we get our families there?
And how do we get your families there? And well, can you get your families there? And what do you do?
Even better.
Or what do you do to get your families there? Well, I think the number one thing is, as men is you have to live it. And you don't really even have to say much. You just live it.
Live it and lead it.
Live it, lead it. Yeah. So when my boys wake up in the morning, they see me praying a breviary, which is Liturgy of the Hours. It's a prayer in the Catholic Church, and it's not strictly Catholic. Anybody can do it. So guess what? I never ever asked them to pray the breviary. Now they have one, 2 of them, and the third wants to set for himself. I didn't say a word. You just live it, and it's really, really important. So what is your destination? If your destination is heaven, then think about the 3 ships analogy. You can't be bumping into each other, otherwise you're going to sink, right? Your own boat has to be well taken care of, maintained, right? You have to
Maintain.
maintenance.
Maintenance. Like aluminum.
But you have to have the right coordinates.
That's
and
right.
And that coordinate is Christ. He's the key to this whole thing.
The difference between a goal and a dream. Goals have deadlines. Dreams do not. Not that we have a deadline of when we're going to pass, but at our passing, God will be there to welcome us into his kingdom.
Are you into dreams then? Is it good to dream?
Oh, I dream all the time. I dream so
I'm not talking
vividly.
about daydreaming. I'm just dreaming.
Oh, I dream so vividly. I wake my wife
I'm
up
just
in the middle of the
messing
night
with the guy
talking.
who thinks I'm serious.
Yeah.
Maybe you do daydream all the time. I'm just talking about dreams. I mean, what's the difference between dreams and goals?
Deadlines.
Deadlines, that's the only difference?
That's the only difference. Because
Dreams don't have deadlines.
dreams don't have deadlines. Dreams are just whimsical.
Dreams may not come true.
You could be dreaming of driving that Porsche to church on Sunday. But unless you set the goal of you're going to drive the Porsche to church on December 25th of this year, ain't going to happen. You won't work to get it. If it's really that important, you will work for that deadline.
Yeah, otherwise you apply hopium.
Yeah, hopium. Hopium. It's kind of like cocaine.
Tomorrow never comes, man.
Tomorrow never comes. That's why today's a present.
Anyway, anything else to add for this whole talk about changing your life through routine?
I think it's such a good topic because everyone's going to be getting into this conversation. What's your New Year's resolution? What are you going to do next year? What is your plan for next year? And people are going to be really like, yeah, January 1st is on its way, and they don't have a flipping clue of how they're going to do January 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. And this is it. Like, you want next year to be about getting healthier. That's your word, is improve your health or health. Then you better be asking for exercise clothes for Christmas, a new pair of tennis shoes, support to a gym membership. If you want a subscription to a good app, if one of your goals is to have a closer and deeper relationship with Christ, well, maybe it's a new Bible or a new journal Bible. Maybe it's a subscription to the app of a Bible in a year, or this other one you talked about today. It doesn't do any good to just sit back and be entertained by the reels or by the conversations we're having. You've got to invest, and you've got to invest time to do the little bitty things every day to get there. Does it take long for me to set my clothes out tonight for tomorrow? No. Everyone's running around the house. I got 5 minutes. I'm in and out of the bathroom. Everything's laying next to the sink. Is it hard to get the coffee ready? No. We wrapped up supper last night. I threw the coffee grounds in the coffee maker. I dumped the water in the coffee. I set the timer. I mean, I did all that when my kids were washing the dishes. You just have to do it. And I think that's the biggest challenge for all of us, is we just don't do it because we think it's going to be hard.
Yeah, I think I'm happiest when I'm doing, and when I put a plan together, even if it's a bad plan, I'm much happier checking off the box. I like to check the box off, because when I check the box off, I think, you know what, I'm actually doing something. I'm working. And I make the box. I make the action items for the day.
Yeah. And my wife, she gets really frustrated because I set goals and objectives for our kids each day. And she's like, no, they're just kids. They just let them play, let them be. I'm like, they do, but they also need to learn order. They need to learn the structure of, hey, praying puts you in the good graces of God and Jesus and gets you a closer relationship with him. You know, how many times in scripture do we cover that if you come to me and I don't know your voice, I won't be there for you. Like, God has to know your voice. He has to hear you cry out. And that's part of setting these little tiny goals and routines for our kids too. It's practice the piano. It's do a little prayer.
So at home we have what we call the Big Four. Every morning,
Tell us about the Big Four.
Yeah, the kids have to get the Big Four done. Make your bed, brush your teeth, put your clothes away, and then the chore that you have been assigned, and get your chore done. When the Big Four is over, then it's Bible time. Maybe we should switch it around, but so then we have Bible time, and then after Bible time, it's off to homeschool, which is 30 feet to the table, right?
But for that as a parent, okay, you get these kids set in that really good routine. You now have the minutes for you to do your routine. and prep yourself to be a better parent, to be ready for them, if that's going and working out or going a walk in the block. Kids can be responsible enough to brush their teeth, make their bed, and do a chore in 15 minutes while you go get your blood pumping. And then we all convene at the table and we rock and roll on the things that matter next, which is the Bible for them. Okay, Dad's prayed about this for the last 15 minutes. Here's where the words moved me for you today. We lead as dads, we lead as parents, and then now it's on the homeschool. Now we got our order right of what's important.
You know, we don't have any excuses because everything has been made so easy for us. All you have to do is read a 30-minute book or pull out your phone and there's an app for it. I bet you there's an app for how do I order my life? I don't know. Maybe we should make one.
We could.
Maybe that's how I can make money. Actually,
There you go.
Doing this. Anyway, I got nothing else to say.
This is the beginning. This is the closing of one chapter and the beginning of a new one. And if you haven't considered doing a routine or you're not sure where to begin with a routine, start very small. Maybe you're just need to start with the big 4. Get up, brush your teeth, make your bed, and sit down with your Bible. Listen to an app. Start there. One win begats another win.
Yep, that's all I got too. That's a great idea. Do the big 4. We just created a big 4 for you.
Big 4.
It's not hard. And
For 2024, the big 4.
There you go. And I would say one final thing: don't be afraid to push yourself.
And don't be afraid to fail, because you're going to suck at this at first.
And failing too. Anyway, remember, ladies and gentlemen, you are loved. May God strengthen the
Bars of your gates.
God bless you.
Hey, thanks for listening to the Glen Gower Podcast, sponsored by Mission Blueprint. Mission Blueprint is a nonprofit ministry started by Glen and Jamie to sanctify the family. Our income is donation-based, and we need your help. Please support us financially by going to www.mission-blueprint.org and be a part of our financial team. Thank you, and may God strengthen the bars of your gate.